My fellow citizens, we are on the brink of a change that has been in the works for the last 240 years. Ever since the inception of our nation, women have been pleading, arguing, getting arrested, being mocked, and treated as a second class, not even citizens, for the mere right to receive equal treatment and consideration as men. It took only 140 years to secure the right to vote. And just 50 years ago, Ruth Bader Ginsburg was told that because her husband had a good job, she didn't need to make the same salary as a man in a similar position. And here we are today, finally, with a woman nominee for president. Wow. While there are many reasons why this change has taken so long to come about, I'd like to call out one key overarching factor: the male biochemical need for power, control, aggression, to win at whatever cost, sometimes at the expense of laws and morality. This drive is evident throughout history and across civilizations. Let me give you a few examples. War, genocide, colonialism, slavery, dictatorships, and excessive military spending that has led to the fall of every great European power for the last 500 years. Corruption in the form of an estimated $21 to $32 trillion escaping taxation in offshore accounts. Financial crises and scandals. Rape, domestic violence, and limiting women's rights to own their bodies. Climate disruption. Inequalities affecting a multitude of faces and backgrounds. A less than productive male and Republican-controlled Congress recently. The fact that the richest 10 heads of state in the world, all men, have a combined worth of almost $200 billion. Meanwhile, 1.1 billion fellow humans survive on under $2 per day. And finally, the Republican nominee. Power, control, aggression, winning at whatever cost, criminality, lack of morals. There's a pattern here. Wouldn't it be great to change this model? To replace this arguably medieval mindset with something geared for the challenges and needs of the 21st century? A perspective that focuses on nurturing, not nuking, educating, not eradicating, collaborating and compromising, not eternally competing in zero-sum games. A perspective that treats others as human beings with hopes and dreams, regardless of origins, persuasions, and beliefs, not as objects but of emotions and worth. Imagine the impacts this change could have. More investments in infrastructure, education, substance abuse, job training, and small businesses. Plain and simple equal rights and choice for all. And a path to make immigrants, like my grandfather, citizens with equal rights. A reduction in senseless gun deaths. Funded Social Security, Medicare and healthcare. Campaign finance, Wall Street, and criminal justice reforms. And a continued focus on what Margaret Atwood aptly calls everything change. For as our climate changes, so does our entire planet. Now this will require a few non-trivial changes in us as well. Most importantly, I believe it will require us to expand our definition of leadership. Now I can understand this may not sound like much. However, bear in mind we've only been socialized for a few thousand years to believe that might makes right. We need to get ourselves to a mental state where we understand that what is right also incorporates heart and mind as well. This is not a leadership platform based on hubris, aggression, ego, dogma, division, shouting the loudest, and sizes of body parts, but one rooted in the ability to empower others, that listens and can empathize, one with the highest standards of integrity and ethics, and one with an incredibly strong work ethic. And while this may sound a lot like our nominee, it is actually a list of character traits ascribed to female leaders across the board. And this is exactly what I believe we need as a species and as a society if we are to survive ourselves. We need more progressive women in positions of power wherever power sits. And we need them now. The stakes are huge, and their impacts on our society, from the Supreme Court to the domestic and global economy to foreign policy, will be both significant and distinct. If this is the woman's card, then I believe it should be played whenever and wherever possible. With gusto, multicolored spotlights, and Lady Gaga riffs in the background. This should be the card that trumps all others. And I, for one, will try my best to make sure there are many, many more than just 4 queens in the decks we use going forward. In closing, I'd like to quote Ban Ki-moon, UN Secretary General, who, in this position, may be the best qualified person on the planet to make these observations. And I quote, "Countries with more gender equality have better economic growth. Companies with more women leaders perform better. Peace agreements that include women are more durable. Parliaments with more women enact more legislation on key social issues such as health, education, anti-discrimination, and child support. The evidence is clear. Equality for women means progress for all. It is time. The future, our future, is now. Let's get equal." Thank you for the gift of your time.